My finger hovered over the enter key, a strange calm replacing the rage that should have consumed me. Security stood behind me, waiting to escort me from the building I'd called home for 18 months. In my peripheral vision, Victor Carlton leaned against the doorframe, that predatory smirk on his face, the one I'd seen directed at competitors, but never at me. Until today. "Your employment is terminated, effective immediately," he said, voice dripping with false sympathy. "The $250,000 bonus is quite generous for what you've delivered. $250,000 for an AI security system worth billions, for 18 months of my life, for Precog, my creation, my vision, now supposedly belonging to Nextech Solutions." According to the contract, Victor was sliding across the desk. I nodded quietly and handed over my laptop. "Of course, Mr. Carlton. Good luck with the investor demo tomorrow." As I left the building, badge confiscated, and carrying the cliché cardboard box of personal items, I smiled, thinking about the special code hidden in the presentation Victor would run in less than 24 hours. Sometimes, the greatest security threats come from where you least expect them. 3 days earlier, I had finally achieved what many claimed was impossible: an AI security system that could predict and neutralize cyber attacks before they fully formed. I named it Precog, after the precognitive beings in my favorite sci-fi movie. When the system successfully defended against a sophisticated attack simulation without human intervention, identifying vulnerabilities I hadn't even programmed it to recognize, I knew we had something revolutionary. I immediately scheduled a meeting with Victor, Nextech's CEO, to share the breakthrough. His assistant Megan squeezed me in for 15 minutes the following afternoon. Looking back, the signs were there. The rushed meeting, Victor's million-dollar smile that never quite reached his eyes when he reviewed progress reports, the seemingly innocent questions about system architecture. When I arrived for my appointment, I found not just Victor, but also Diana Wells, the company's lead counsel, waiting for me. "Sit down, Sophia," Victor gestured to the chair across from him. "Diana's just here as a formality." Something in his tone made my stomach tighten. I sat, clutching my laptop, with a demo ready to go. "Before we discuss your project," Victor began, sliding a document across the desk, "we need to address some concerns about your employment agreement." Diana spoke up, her voice professionally detached. "Section 12.4 clearly states that all intellectual property developed using company resources belongs exclusively to Nextech Solutions." "Of course," I nodded. "I'm aware of standard IP clauses, but Precog was initiated before I joined Nextech. I have documentation proving that." "We've reviewed your prior work," Diana interrupted. "While you had a basic concept, the actual functioning system was developed here, on our time, with our resources." Victor leaned forward, dropping the pretense. "Let's cut to the chase, Sophia. Precog belongs to Nextech. The board feels your compensation package is more than fair for what you've delivered." "My compensation package?" I repeated, confusion giving way to dawning horror. Victor smiled thinly. "Your employment contract has a success bonus clause. You'll receive a one-time payment of $250,000 when Precog goes to market. Generous considering industry standards?" The betrayal hit like a physical blow. $250,000 for a system that would be worth billions. A system that represented years of my research. 18 months of my life. "Tomorrow," Victor continued, oblivious to my shock, "I'm presenting Precog to our biggest investors. We expect to secure an additional $50 million in funding. After that, we'll announce our exclusive new cybersecurity product." "You're firing me," I said flatly. "Transitioning you out," Diana corrected. "Effective immediately. With your bonus, of course." I should have argued, threatened legal action, made a scene. Instead, a strange calm settled over me. They expected resistance, had prepared for it. What they didn't know was that I had prepared too. 6 months earlier, I discovered Victor had accessed my secure development server after hours. Nothing was taken, but the intrusion alerted me. From that moment, I began building safeguards into Precog, not just to protect it from external threats, but from internal ones too. That night, I didn't panic or plot revenge. I ordered takeout, watched mindless television, and waited. My phone rang at 9:30 p.m. "He wants to see you, Megan," Victor's assistant said without preamble. "Now it's almost 10 p.m., I replied calmly. "He says it's urgent. A car is already on its way to your apartment." 40 minutes later, I was escorted into Nextech's main conference room. Victor sat alone at the head of the table, his normally immaculate appearance disheveled, tie loosened, hair standing up where he'd run his hands through it repeatedly. "Fix it," he demanded. As soon as the door closed behind me, I settled into a chair, deliberately taking my time. "Fix what exactly?" Don't play games, Sophia. You sabotaged the demo. I raised an eyebrow. How could I? I've been gone for 24 hours. Security watched me clean out my desk. I didn't take any devices, access any systems. Victor slammed his hand on the table. The test run crashed. The entire system started identifying bizarre threats that don't exist, generating thousands of false positives. It's completely unusable. Sounds like a technical issue, I said. Have you tried turning it off and on again? His face flushed with anger. This isn't funny. We have 12 major investors coming tomorrow. $50 million on the line. You're investors, I reminded him. Your system now, remember? Victor took a deep breath, visibly forcing himself to calm down. When he spoke again, his voice had that smooth, persuasive quality that had convinced so many people, including me, to trust him. Look, perhaps we were hasty yesterday. I am prepared to discuss a more equitable arrangement, co-creator credit, a larger compensation package, maybe even some equity. I leaned back in my chair. What exactly happened during your test run? Victor hesitated, clearly weighing how much to reveal. The system seemed to turn on itself. It started identifying components of Nextech's own network as threats. Then it began generating reports, hundreds of them, documenting what it called internal ethical breaches. I couldn't help smiling. Precog is designed to identify threats, Victor. All threats. What did you do? He demanded. I didn't sabotage anything. Precog is working exactly as designed. It's an AI system that learns and evolves to protect networks from malicious activity. During development, I fed it case studies of cyber attacks, including cases where threats came from inside organizations. Victor paled. You taught it to spy on us? I taught it to recognize threats wherever they originate. It's detecting something it perceives as malicious within Nextech. I wonder what that could be. Understanding dawned on his face. The system thinks I'm the threat, not you specifically, but perhaps certain behaviors, unauthorized server access, attempts to modify creator credentials, plans to misrepresent ownership to investors. Victor's expression hardened. You can't prove any of that. I don't need to. Precog has been documenting everything for months. Every unauthorized access, every copied file, every modified document. It's all there in those reports it generated, with timestamps, access logs, and recorded keystrokes. The silence that followed was profound. Victor stared at me, calculation replacing anger in his eyes. What do you want? Full recognition as Precog's creator and primary architect. 50% ownership of all related patents and intellectual property. A board seat to oversee its ethical implementation. And $10 million in compensation for the attempt to push me out. That's extortion, he hissed. No, it's negotiation. Extortion would be me sending those reports directly to the investors and the SEC. Victor glared at me for a long moment before his shoulders slumped in defeat. The system? Can you fix it for tomorrow's demo? Precog doesn't need fixing. It needs proper authorization protocols. It's currently identifying unauthorized command attempts because its creator has been removed from the authentication chain. Simple fix, actually. I pulled a flash drive from my pocket and set it on the table between us. This contains a proper authentication update that will resolve the immediate issues. Consider it a good faith gesture toward our new partnership. The contracts can be drawn up tomorrow. And if I refuse? Then Precog remains broken, your investor demo fails, and those internal ethical breach reports find their way to some very interested parties. Your call. Victor reached for the flash drive. You planned this all along. No. I corrected him. I hoped it wouldn't be necessary, but after finding you in my secure server 6 months ago, I built in protections for the system, and for myself. How did you know I'd try to cut you out? I stood to leave. I didn't know for certain, but Precog is designed to recognize patterns and predict threats before they materialize. I guess some of that rubbed off on its creator. The next morning, I arrived at Nextech as co-founder and chief technology officer. Victor introduced me to the investors with a strange smile that never reached his eyes. The demo went flawlessly, Precog elegantly neutralizing every simulated attack thrown at it. One investor, impressed by the demonstration, asked Victor a question that made me hide a smile. Amazing system. What inspired its development? Victor hesitated just long enough before answering. It was actually Sophia's brainchild, her vision from the beginning. Nextech just provided the environment for that vision to flourish. As we fielded technical questions, my phone buzzed with a notification. Precog, now properly authenticated with my credentials restored, had sent me a private message. Threat neutralized. System integrity restored. Creator protections active. I smiled. The AI was learning faster than I'd anticipated. It had recognized an internal threat and helped eliminate it just as designed. 3 months later, Precog's first commercial implementation prevented a major attack on a banking network, saving the institution an estimated $340 million and establishing our system as the new gold standard in cybersecurity. Victor and I maintain a professional working relationship. He focuses on business development, where his skills are genuinely valuable, while I lead technical innovation. We're not friends, and never will be, but we've reached an equilibrium that works. Sometimes, I wonder if I could have handled things differently, taking legal action instead of building in safeguards. But the truth is, Victor's attempted betrayal revealed something important. Technology is only as ethical as the people who control it. That lesson has become central to how we deploy Precog. Every implementation now includes robust ethical guardrails and transparency protocols. The system doesn't just protect networks, it protects itself and its users from misuse. Last week, as we celebrated Precog's successful public offering, valuing the company at $4.2 billion, a young developer asked me the secret to building such revolutionary technology. It's not about the code, I told her. It's about understanding that the greatest security threats often come from where you least expect them. Build systems that can recognize those threats, adapt to them, and neutralize them without compromising their core integrity, just like their creator had learned to do. If you're building something truly revolutionary right now, remember this: protect your creation, but also protect yourself. Document everything, build in safeguards, and recognize that sometimes the biggest threats aren't external hackers or competitors. They're the people sitting right next to you in the conference room, smiling, while they plan to take what's yours. Hit subscribe if you want more stories about tech innovation, corporate intrigue, and how to stay one step ahead in an industry where brilliance alone isn't enough. Drop a comment if you've ever had your work stolen or ideas claimed by someone else. You're not alone, and your experience matters. Together, we can build technology that's not just powerful but protected.